2021 until otherwise notified. That all gatherings and in-person meetings of whatever nature are suspended within the counties of Nairobi, Kajiado, Machakos, Kiambu, and Nakuru until further notice. That all in-person meetings of the Cabinet and its committees, with the exception of meetings of the National Security Council, are suspended until further notice. That with the concurrence of the parliamentary leadership of both houses of Parliament and with the concurrence of the county leadership, the ordinary sessions of the August House, including those of their committees, and the ordinary sessions of the county assemblies of Nairobi, Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu, and Nakuru are hereby suspended until further notice. In accordance with the standing orders of the National Assembly and the Senate, the two Speakers of Parliament will move to effect this decision, as will the Speakers of the respective county assemblies. The international travel into and out of the territory of the Republic of Kenya shall continue in accordance with the existing guidelines on foreign and international travel. That all persons coming into the country must be in possession of a negative COVID-19 PCR certificate acquired no more than 96 hours prior to arrival into the country, with the PCR certificate also having been validated under the trusted travel platform for those traveling by air. That the hours of the ongoing nationwide curfew are revised to commence at 8 p.m. and end at 4 a.m. in the zoned area that I have just mentioned of Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, Machakos, and Nakuru. And in the rest of the country, it shall remain at from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. as is currently the case. This again shall be effective as of midnight tonight, and that is Saturday the 27th day of March 2021. That in light of the abuse of curfew passes and exemptions and its role in the steep increase in infections, the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, jointly with the Ministry of Health, is directed to immediately review the protocols for reissuance of curfew passes and exemptions, and in that regard, in the intervening period, all issued passes are hereby vacated. That all physical and in-person, as well as congregational worship in all places of worship in the counties of Nairobi, Kajiado, Machakos, Kiambu, and Nakuru stands suspended until otherwise notified. That in regard to the other 42 counties, in-person worship and congregational worship shall continue to be conducted in keeping with the one-third rule and in accordance with the guidelines of the Interfaith Council. With respect to education in Kenya, there shall be an immediate suspension of all ongoing physical learning in all our education institutions, including universities and tertiary and vocational colleges, other than for candidates sitting for their examinations, and those in medical training institutions until otherwise notified. That all sporting activities are hereby suspended. Similarly, operations of sporting and recreational facilities, including members' clubs, are suspended until it is otherwise directed. That in line with the directive on public gatherings, including social gatherings, the following measures are to come into effect commencing midnight, Friday the 26th of March 2021. That the operations of bars is suspended in the counties of Nairobi, Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu, and Nakuru. Similarly, the sale of alcohol in restaurants and eateries in the 5 counties is prohibited until further notice. That all restaurants and eateries in the counties of Nairobi, Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu, and Nakuru shall provide takeaway services only. That the operations of bars and restaurants and eateries in the other 42 counties shall continue as is, but they shall at all times be conducted in strict fidelity to the Ministry of Health guidelines, failure to which appropriate action against management, staff, patrons, and premises shall be taken. Public transport operators are directed to strictly uphold the designated 60% carrying capacity, and the county emergency response committees that we formed are directed to enforce implementation of infection prevention control measures in markets such as hand-washing stations, while also ensuring that all sellers and buyers must be fully masked and maintain physical distance. That all employees and enterprises of whatever nature, including public bodies, the private sector, government offices, and others, are directed to allow their employees to work from home, with the exception of employees working in critical or essential services that cannot be delivered remotely until further notice. That the judiciary, law enforcement, remand and correctional facilities, as well as the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and other players and stakeholders in the criminal justice and civil justice system, are also to take immediate action to eliminate non-essential physical contact or situations within their areas of mandate that may lead to crowding or propagation of the disease. That all hospitals are directed to limit the number of visitors for hospitalized patients to 2 visitors per patient. That all physical meetings or events, including social gatherings, shall have a cap of no more than 15 persons until further notice. In regard to funerals, cremations, and other interment ceremonies, it is directed that these ceremonies shall be conducted strictly within 72 hours of confirmation of death. That the attendees, officiators, and facilitators of funerals or graveside or cremation ceremonies shall be limited to 50 persons in total. That the attendees, officiators, and facilitators of wedding celebrations, of marriage or traditional union ceremonies, or ceremonies of rites of passage, and all other similar events or ceremonies shall be limited to 30 persons in total. That the prohibition against political gatherings is extended until otherwise directed, and that